Welcome to the 111 Approach podcast, your go-to space for deep thoughts, real talk, and exploration of everything from spirituality to self-development and the mysteries of life with some light-hearted humour along the way. I'm your host, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer, and each episode will dive into different topics, sometimes personal, sometimes thought-provoking, but always authentic. So whether you're here for some new perspectives, inspiration, or just a fresh take on the world with a bit of randomness thrown into the mix, you're definitely in the right place. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the 111 Approach podcast with me, Lakshmi, the 1 Minute Healer. This is part 2 of the incredible episode that we are recording with the amazing, beautiful, talented, like through and through, yes, Rahul Das. I wanted to say winner of Glow Up season 7, but was not meant to be, because he was meant to be here with us talking about all things spiritual baddies. This is the title of our mini series. So if you're listening to this episode and you haven't listened to the episode before, what are you doing? Go back, listen to the first part, because this is part 2. Otherwise, it ain't going to make any sense. So we left it as we were talking about wearing masks. And you said you had to wear a lot of masks. I think everyone can resonate with that. I feel like no one really knows who they truly are. I think, like you said, it's always a journey. You always are peeling back layers, going deeper. You find out about aspects of yourself where you're thinking, now I like this, or was I really like that? But I guess you only do that if you choose to do the work, right? It's all about awareness. And unfortunately, I feel like people don't take the time to really get to know themselves, which is really sad, because if you don't know yourself, who are you and who are you showing to the world?
First of all, I just want to say you flatter me, so thank you for that wonderful intro. But mask wearing, I mean, some may say wearing makeup is a mask, but I have a whole different perspective on that, which is, for me, it's empowering the rawness of who you are. It's almost like an enhancement of that truth, and because it can be controversial as a man, especially. But in terms of mask wearing, I want to say it's actually easier to wear a mask because it's comfortable. It's kind of a disguise to fit in, to kind of not be seen where you don't want to be seen. And ripping off that mask is vulnerability. It's leaving you with questions to yourself of, who am I? That question in itself is a whole episode, but exploring who you are, it is diving into the vulnerability. And once you rip that mask off, or the masks, the multiple masks, you're left with a raw, vulnerable state where you then have to build back up. And I think for me, like growing up, I've realized makeup was always, maybe some may call it one of the masks that I did wear, but it was the mask that I wanted to wear. And it also became something that was difficult because it was a mask that I was trying to hide, but it was actually accentuating the true version of myself, and it was doing the reverse. It was making me stand out. It was making me more prominent and allowing people to question the other masks that I was hiding behind. But the truth was behind that. And I know that's probably a bit of a riddle in itself, but essentially, my journey on the show Glow Up, I'm a very big believer of destiny, kismet, if you will, and how I came about going onto it was very much like a fumble into it kind of moment. And when I was in it, I was like, damn, this is God, universe, the source pushing me into this.
Can you elaborate? How did it come about?
So I actually have been a photographer for best part of my life, but I've also been a makeup artist, and that's kind of just been like an underlying theme. Like, it was more of a therapy for me. I really enjoyed makeup. I was always very artsy as a child, doodling on everything, drawing beautiful Indian women and making their eyeliner flick so sharp. And I loved doing that stuff. Like, so many notepads were spoiled doing that.
Took you on a few jobs?
Yeah, me and Gunga has definitely, dragged me further into that world, and given me that opportunity to work on shoots with her.
And I'm going to say, like, I know my sister, she is a picky, perfectionist person, especially when she needed some help. And she's like, I need someone who I know is good and I can trust, and who's going to do the level of work that is going to be expected of someone who's going to be working with her. And it was always you, man, like through and through, from even as an early age. I remember these doodles. You used to do like the Mendi, the henna patterns and everything. I was thinking, oh my gosh, it was like literally like calligraphy art. It was amazing.
So all of that for me was what I enjoyed. So I really disassociated that from, a career, a tangible career. And I think I mentioned in the previous episode where I was acting from the age of 4. I was in speech and drama school. I was doing, I was intensive training on how to act, but I loved it. It was so good. Like I could, dress up as a king and create a crown with my mom at home, buy the glitter, buy the gems. So that was my bag. Because of that head start, I was getting acting jobs from a very young age. I was doing little ads here and there, a Honey Monster commercial, domestic shows. My mom was my agent. Like, shout out to my mom for dragging me around and doing all of that. But I used to do that in between school. So I'm not, your Miley Cyrus, but I was a child actor. So I've very much grown up in that. I was in school and I was in the studio in front of a camera. I had less playtime. So growing up in that, I landed a job at BBC Asian Network for the first South Asian radio show, which was a spin-off of The Archers, and it was called Silver Street. So I was the youngest member the youngest cast member. I was 10 years old when I started. That took me right up until year 11. So I was again recording in and out of school. It was a paid job. I was going into BBC studios in a mailbox and recording. So by the age of 16, 5 years of watching people of color, South Asian actors sitting in that green room talking about their struggles in the industry, because this is going back now. Like, it's changing slowly, but back then it was you were getting the job because you were the token brown person. These were talented actors. I mean, some of them have starred in James Bond movies, etc. since. Like, they've got their flowers eventually. But growing up as a young Indian male, seeing that as my aspiration, I was done. By the time I got to 16, I was like, I do not want this. I do not want to be an actor. Like, I wanted to be a dentist. So
What?
yes. So
Usually it's the other way around. It's like, right, I want to be an actor. No, you're being a dentist. Like, that's exactly what I wanted to be, a dancer and an actress. And I was like, my dad was like, no, you're doing a degree. And I was like, well, I don't want to do medicine. Don't like that. And then I ended up in biology because I actually loved biology. But that's so funny. You wanted to be a dentist. You have really good teeth, though, to be fair.
thank you. I mean, I didn't do them myself, but so I got one thing out of it. I knew how I wanted my teeth to look by the end of it. But I wanted to be a dentist so badly. By year 11, I'd already signed up to an intensive course to get me into that prior to uni, like a pre-grad. And yeah, I'm going to be a dentist. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to just, because I wanted security, because seeing the lack of it, it scared me as a child. And my mom was like, you've put all this effort into you being an actor, but if you want to be a dentist, you get my blessing. My dad, on the other hand, was like, no, you're a creative. You should be doing creative things. Why do you want to be a dentist? But they supported me nonetheless. 1 year in, I was like, I absolutely hate this. Get me out of here. I don't want to see another denture or crown in my life. Unless it's the one on my head, of course. But so that was it. And then I just was like, I don't want to go to uni. I was just, academics was not for me. And then my brother already had his photography business set up by then. So naturally, I went under his wing and I felt, shout out to my brother, Rupinder Das. His full title is Rai Bahadur Rupinder Singh, which is very princely. The company's name is Das Cinema, but we've traveled the world and he really taught me. He's very much that talented in that respect, so I kind of got a free ride and learned, like, skim read the books, and I was like, teach me how to work a camera. Started shooting. My first major wedding was I was 16 years old. I shot a whole wedding on my own, and the rest is history. I've done so many weddings. I've seen so many different subcultures and cultures in Indian community, Pakistani community, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with weddings. I fell in love with the magic, being close to the bride and groom during hopeless romantic. I was like, I'm 27 dresses, literally. Like, I always in the wedding, but never the one getting married. But that might change. So yeah, that is what brought me to the makeup side. I was it started off with pushing the bride's pins back in, topping up their lip liner. Then it was powdering their face. And then I had my own kit. Alongside my photography kit, I had an emergency bridal kit, which was needle and thread. It was powder, blotting powder. It was, spoolies for mascara. And I was literally actively doing that for brides. And I was like, shit, okay, I need to be doing this more. But I never took it seriously. And again, Kismet, I'm a big believer. My parents have always taught me this, that whatever is meant for you, nobody can take away, and you'll always end up winding onto that road. And now that I'm finally here in my 30s, like, I know I'm still young. However, it's taken a long minute to get here, and a lot of self-doubt and a lot of inner battles to accept that I can do this, even with male representation in the industry, which is it's far and few. And I respect all of them that are in the industry. I really look up to a lot of the South Asian male makeup artists that have really put us on the map. But why is it that I've only got so many to look up to? And for me, it was like, no, 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 we need to push out of this. Like, the bridal industry is amazing, very lucrative, and actually one of the most paid in the makeup industry. And this was also said to me directly by Dominic Skinner from Glow Up. He acknowledged that the Asian bridal industry is one of the most expensive. So shout out to the bridal MUA. Shout out to my good sis Gunga. I've seen her growth and her work so hard for her platform that she has now, and her talent is impeccable. But also for me, I think it's more than that. It's not just picking up the brush and having the skill, it's the energy that comes with it. And yeah, I have grown up watching Gunga as well. So to be able to work with her, actually, it was a couple of years before the show, which I started going on shoots with Gunga, and we had these conversations of where I'm trying to go. And fast forward now, this is happening for me because I've finally acknowledged that I want to do this, and I'm going to take all of the shit that comes with it and the possible criticism and that vulnerability that it will land me in. And I'm in it now, and I'm doing it now, and I'm gonna hold that truth and really go forward with it.
And you know what? Props to you for that, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot. And like, I know you said in the last episode about me and my gift and all this stuff, but like, for someone to put themselves out there in the public eye, another level of bravery, of courage, of standing in your power as well, because it's hard because you've got a lot of eyes on you. Got a lot of eyes on you. And as we all know, everyone's entitled to their opinions, and people are going to have good opinions and they're going to have bad opinions. But to try and filter all that out, I remember when I first got my first bad comment on a reel that I did, and it really shook me, and I was really had to work on it. And I don't even have like that. I said that many followers, but can I just also say we're growing up in an age now where it's like 1,000 people. That's not many followers. You have 1,000 people looking at your page, like 1,000 people. That's ridiculous. That is a lot of people, right? So anyway, again, I digress. But I know, and I'm not going to speak for Gunga. And Gunga, if you're listening, you can come on and tell me if I'm wrong on this. But I do remember when Gunga was first starting out in the makeup industry, she didn't want to go into Asian bridal. I think again, she felt like she didn't really belong there because of just our upbringing and being the in-betweeners of like too brown for the white people and then not brown enough for the browns. Basically, we were those in-betweeners. And so she really wanted to get into sort of editorial and fashion and work. And I was like, yeah, you should do it. But I think again, she realized that it takes a lot and it's not for everyone, and that's okay. But for you to put yourself out there, and also I think, actually, I don't think she would mind me saying it though, you're right, very lucrative market, the Asian bridal. We tend to spend a fuckload of money on our weddings, man, like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And says the woman who was married, and a lot of money went down the drain. But anyway, we'll just leave that in the past. This is why I have to do a lot of money mindset work, right? Because I felt so guilty as well. I remember actually that day, I was like, even when I thought I was like, I shouldn't get married. And I was like, but we've paid for everything now. We'll just get through it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Please know, if you're having that thought before your wedding, it's not going to be fucking fine. Do not do it. There's wedding insurance for a reason. If you don't have wedding insurance, get it and make up an excuse later. I don't know. Don't, actually, no, I'm not condoning insurance fraud. Please don't. That was a joke. That was a joke. We might have to edit that bit out. But yeah, no, I just want to applaud you that, you know, you've put yourself out there and you're doing amazing, amazing work. And it does take its toll, I guess, right? I know we've had these conversations. So it's really important to look after your energy, I guess. And I think, is that maybe why you felt, I think, mate, you know what? I'm just thinking now, or I'm getting something, that your soul pulled you back into your spirituality in preparation for this. Because when did you said it was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I had like a turbulent few years. I corporate ladder, climbed it, got to the top, had my own role, was that bitch. Let's just say it. It was faultless. I was had a role created for me. Half of it was I was delivering mindfulness sessions. I'd literally done like one mental health first aid course and I was having people sit down. I used to put like mood lighting on. I used to put incense on, even though like fire alarms and all that stuff. But I would, yeah, I I would set the vibes, and I would get the corporate guys to sit down and be like, "Come on, let's do it." And that fused into my role, and then I was doing event planning, marketing, etc. So I should have been happy, and I wasn't. There was something inside of me that was like, what's the lack? Why am I looking out from this balcony in my luxury apartment in central Birmingham and there's something missing? Because I needed to pick up the paintbrush and I needed to paint my feelings. I needed to interact with humans on that level. And then it kind of came crashing down. I went through tower moments. It was all like a sludge. And then I got into my cocoon. And yeah, the butterfly's out now. So the metamorphosis has happened over the past few years. And this was my time to release. And it's happened so quickly to a point where if I didn't have those spiritual tools, I didn't have the ability to ground, I didn't have the tools of meditation and being able to really be self aware and self regulate myself. I don't know how I would have navigated the show. And it's not just the show, it's what comes with it. I am the second South Asian male, the first Indian male to be on that show. And that in itself came with everything. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, right? And just an inside scoop, I designed two looks for my intros. If you haven't watched the show, check it out. We have to film a transformation look, which is not judged, but it's used as our introduction. So this is Rahul, like when they do our VT, that's the look. So that's completely down to us. Videotape.
Disease, but
VT. Roll the VT. Like when they say roll the VT, it's just videotape. It's just production lingo. But we got full autonomy of what to design. So I was like, my first idea was like, yes, if I'm gonna let's wear a bog. Let's go there. Like,
bog is a turban, just
let's wear a turban. I wrapped it the way that my granddad would have wrapped it. And again, that was in the hotel the night before, struggling, panicking, never done it before. I did a Mendy inspired look on my face, which is henna design. And I really wanted to tap into my essence of who I am, my ancestry and my heritage. And I also used tilak, which is also known as sindoor, also known as vermilion, which is a red powder. It's a natural form, but it's placed on your third eye, and it's got so much significance in terms of protection. So protecting you from negative energies, repelling negative energies because their focus would turn to that, and also activating your third eye and placing it there to awaken that spirit and that essence. I knew that I wanted to incorporate that into my look, and it was also my way of being like, shit, if I'm on television, I'm protecting myself from all of these energies. I had the guardian in my eyes. I was like, let me do everything I know to protect myself. I even had incense. I had to speak to production and say they had to get fire safety. I had a bucket with sand next to my makeup station because I'd said, look, if I'm gonna do this, I need incense in the studio. So I was like, if I'm gonna show up and represent my culture and my heritage, I'm going to do it in full force and I'm going to do it correctly. That was also it was a vulnerable moment for me. I'll be honest. I'd put all that out there, signed and sealed it off with production. And I sat with myself and I was like, there's one thing you going on this show. Now you're doing the most. Like, you need to really rein this in. You need to really understand what the repercussions could be of this. And I actually messaged production and said, can we scrap that? I've got a second look that I want to do, which was, teetering on that side, but it was just like more celestial, a little bit more safe, a bit more digestible, if you like. Not for me, for the public. It was more like the sun, it was celestial vibes, like it was more makeup, no turban, none of that. So production came back to me and they said, look, it's completely your choice. However, we've all kind of looked at your first look and we really like it. And we all think it would be a great way to introduce you onto the show. So then I was in a dilemma. I'm like, shit, they're saying it's good. What do I do? And I just went with it. And I was really in a vulnerable state for a while because I was too worried about what everybody else would say.
That's it. I'm working my finger at him. You guys can't see, but that is true. This is what happens. You go with your gut and you go, and that was channeled. And I have to say, and I spoke to your sister about this when I was watching it, because when I was watching, case in point, yeah, I don't have a TV license because I don't watch real TV, right? I don't. For this boy, my brother here, I bought a 3 month package for BBC iPlayer so I could watch TV license, so you can watch the show. And then I also re-downloaded Snapchat so I can use a filter. But when I was watching it, oh my God, I was thinking, like, I'm not your like blood sister, right? I was filled with so much pride. I was crying. I was just filled with so much pure joy. I was like, how does Devi, his sister, feel? I messaged her, I said, I don't know how you and your mom and dad and Rupinder must be feeling, because I just felt when I looked at you on that image with the bog, the turban, and the dilk. So thank you for telling. You were teaching me so much because no one told us. Okay, so we used to wear the red dilk, the sandur, and I thought again when I was younger, I thought that was part of Das Dharam, our spiritual master, because we only used to wear it when we went to the Dera. When we would go to the Gurdwara, the Sikh temple, no one was wearing it there. So again, I associated with that. And then sometimes when I'd wear it, or people would see me wearing it, or I'd see pictures with me on it wearing it, again, I got teased because it was like, oh, you're part of a cult, this, that, the other. And I never understood the significance behind it. So thank you for telling me that now. I remember I felt something different hit with it when it was the day of my dad's funeral, and we went into the dera, the spiritual temple, and we went in there and did matatek, which is bow down and pay your respects. And then my mom went into Maharaji's office and she put the red sindoor on her head, and something shifted in me that day. And then the other time I wore it was on the 5 year anniversary at the dera as well. And now you've told me that, I just feel so much more like connected with it now. And I feel like I'm, when I feel like I need to wear it, I will wear it. But seeing you represent it, and before just now, I didn't know that significance. But for me, it was representing Margie. And I thought, I just admire just your authenticity of being like, right, this is what I'm going to do. But thank you for sharing that, because obviously we just see that on the screen, but behind the scenes, you were obviously going through your feelings and letting other people's perceptions of what they thought it was going to represent for you to get into your head.
I'll be fully honest that put the show aside, that little moment, it was planned and it was created in my head. I was like, I need you to get a shot of me putting it on. I was production. I was like, you're gonna film this and you're gonna do that and this is what I'm gonna do. But then when I watched the edit, even I had that moment. I was like, I was gasped, I was gagged. I was like, oh my God, that's an energy. That's you, but that's an energy that you were in. I was doing Kathak. I was pulling out the mudras with the fingers because I was like, if we're gonna do this, I was asked to, can you move your head left and right? Like I was like, if you, yeah, like full disclaimer, it wasn't done in a derogatory way, but it was a question. And I said, look, if you want that, let's do it in the right way. We're going to do it. There's words, there's meaning to every hand movement. If you want it, I'm going to do it properly. And I'm quite grateful that I've been able to educate myself in that. So with the Tilak, touching back onto that, it's growing up in Dasaram, we would have seen that so prevalent and been like, it's just us, but it's not. And it is also associated with Hinduism quite widely, because in Hinduism, married women will wear it to signify that they're married in their parting of their hair. Um, and it's also worn on your forehead like a dot. But the tilak, which is more of a line that drags over your third eye, it has its own significance. And I've actually learnt post the show that there is a thing called Raj Tilak, which is when royalty sit on their throne. So when they're coronated, they have a ceremony called Raj Tilak, which means Raj is like the royalty, and the Tilak is it's like the crowning. It's almost the crowning. So they'll wear their turban, and when they're ready to be on that throne, they will have a ceremony where it's happening. But aside from that, I was giving what I know, and I was like, I need to protect myself because I'm opening myself up to the world. I'm being vulnerable. I'm showing the masks are coming off, but I need to protect myself now. And that's what I was trying to do.
And that came through. So please, if you will go and watch the show and let us know, like, did you, like, I know people felt that. I feel it because I feel energy a lot, but like it it hit different, bro. And I don't want to ruin it for everyone because I want you guys to watch it. But the first episode and what you did, fucking game changer. I was like, I could feel that energy coming through when you were doing it. I know exactly what you're doing. And backtracking to when you said, obviously, when you were in your cocoon era and you were going through all the motions and stuff, because I remember, as you were saying that, I was getting flashbacks again because I remember it was during COVID and we did a Reiki session for you online and stuff was coming through. And I remember you shared some stuff with me and I was like, whoa, like, you know, obviously client confidentiality, but what came through from that session? And I remember it was so powerful. I felt, I did feel it in my heart because I was like, what more can I do? Because the thing is, when I do sessions for family, and friends and stuff, like, it does pain. I have to make sure I put my own feelings aside. But afterwards, when we're discussing it, it does make me feel like, oh my God, I wish I could do something more. But I know it's not me doing it. I have to just hold the energy and it's you doing your own healing. And, and then to see you now, it's just, because we didn't know you were going to be on the show, you weren't allowed to say anything. And then it was at the 40th birthday party. And I said to you, I said, you're going to fucking do something. But I think I remember saying to you back then, I was like, something's going to happen. And I knew something, I could feel it. Something was going to happen. Yeah. And then I felt it again at the birthday party. And it was just, now I can't stop smiling, Rahul, because we've had these discussions before even the show and stuff, that I do think, I was like, did why have we gone through what we've gone through with our childhood? And we'll talk about this on another episode as well, because we grew up obviously in very unorthodox households and experiencing very unorthodox experiences. And like, why did we go through that? And then, like, our spiritual master getting assassinated when he was only 33 years old here in the UK. Um, and then everything that came after that with his teachings and his movement, it kind of almost got polluted, I feel, with politics and just humans being fucking humans and putting their own agenda on stuff, which they all do in everything, not just religion, in just government, politics, everything. We kind of take away from the essence that is the purity of everything. And I was getting quite upset by it. I remember you saying we go through all this stuff because you can't. What was it about being the soldiers on the ground? What was it about being in the trenches? We should have recorded that.
We've been doing podcasts for a minute now. Honestly, like the behind the scenes stuff is potent. So when you guys are ready for it, no. But honestly, from what I'm getting from what you were trying to say there is that I feel like we've been through an intensive crash course. Like, I think that that was all part of the master plan. And when you're in it, you don't understand. You're just a child navigating life and being like, why am I so different? And for me, believe me, I have been different, like, in all aspects of my life. And that has kind of forced me to want to prove myself in the community more. And I think I acknowledge that now as an adult, where I've been like, I have tried to be the perfect child for everybody because I was trying to overcompensate for things that I was like, shit, I'm never going to be able to fulfill that or that role or that stereotype. However, now I'm like, the masks are off, honey. Like, I am going to be who I know am inside, like the truest form of myself. And I'm going to do that without hurting anybody in the process. And that's fine. Like, that's okay. And I've actually noticed a difference in people's reactions to me. There's less of a hold on me. There's less movement or space for people to be able to manipulate you because they can see that you're so firm in yourself. They have no choice. but to bend around you. But it also opens them up to realize that within themselves. And this is one of the themes that I touched on the show, episode 1, without giving too much away if you haven't watched it. But I very much did a 180 on that episode, and I did have to use meditation as a tool, which was actually, they captured it quite well, to be honest. I'll give them that. But it was raw, it was real, it was what I was going through on the show. I was like, right, it's crunch time. I'm going to meditate. That's all I know. And it allowed me to tap into my energy, and the theme for my look was actually mirroring the light within. And I was like, how, you can't make this up.
No, you can't make it up because it was all meant to be. And like you said, what's meant for you will never pass you, and it will always come in the most perfect way. And like what we were just talking about then as well, like what the hell is that noise?
Confirmation.
That's a confirmation. Yeah, yes, this is it. All right. So, you know what? It reminds me of this reel I saw this morning about how Indian moms are on Sunday morning and they're just like banging everything. I was laughing because that's what just happened now. So what was I saying? What were we just chatting about? Oh yeah, the show, the meditation, things coming into alignment. So yeah, we were talking about how like things just aligned so perfectly. And like when I was watching it, I just got all the chills, man. I was like, oh my gosh. And again, without like ruining it, please go and watch at least episode 1 because it's freaking amazing. I'm sure they must have been like the producers and the director, they must have been like, fucking hell, we can't write this.
I will be completely honest. Like, I am a big believer of energy, and I'm quite, I can feel the energy now. And when because I'll be again, another bit of inside scoop. We had ample time to prepare those looks. So prior to the show, we were able to sketch out our design, talk about our concept, run it through the makeup team. It was very much like a process. So I knew that I was doing that look weeks in advance. Had I practiced it once? No. I went onto that show like, yeah, I'll be fine. That's kind of what kind of makeup.
Very like very chill vibe.
Sometimes too chill because I didn't practice prosthetics either. But anyway, I was like, I don't need to practice this look. I want to just do it when I'm there. And also, we're going to have access to all this makeup, and I just want to do it when I'm there. Didn't practice it. So when I got on the show, that was the moment I had to do it. And there was a bit more added pressure. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Like, let's go. Let's show what I'm here for. And when I'd realized the look, even for me, I was feeling myself in the mirror. I was like, you know what? Let me give something to the camera as well, because I very much know how that works. So I was very much, there was a point where I got past and I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I know that God's got me now. So I was then just like, let's do this, because I wasn't looking around the room either. I was like, I'm not focusing on anyone else but me. When I stopped and we had to go away, because as you can imagine, the show's a show, but there's a whole process behind the scenes. There's a lot of waiting. So we had to go and get video done of our looks and also a whole photo shoot. When I was walking around that room in my look, the other MUAs that I was with would look, because that was the first time we'd all actually seen each other in makeup. We hadn't seen each other in makeup face to face. The reactions I was getting, I was like, oh my God, I feel like an alien. I feel like I'm an extraterrestrial being that is standing in this room, and people are like it was gasps. There were gasps. Val cried. I was moving people just by my presence, and that was the only makeup look that I got to do on myself in the show, which is funny enough. So again, another reason why I believe makeup is more than just makeup. It's a tool to enhance your energy, because my energy shifted that day. And when I walked around that room and the photographers and the production, there were people's jaws were dropping, and I was like, oh my God, little old me. Like, I'm just here having fun, because that's very much how I went into the competition. I was like, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have fun while I'm here, and that's it. That moment for me made me realize my own potential and how this is a destined path for me, because what I can do, the gifts that I've been given and what I can transmute that into is so much more than just paint and brushes. It's energy shifting stuff.
Yes. Oh my God. I knew exactly what you were going to say before. I was about to say the same thing. I was like, oh my God, how am I knowing what you were going to say? Um, yeah, honestly. And I just want to, as we wrap this up as well, just touch on that, right? So we talked about you saying makeup people say it's a mask, right? Or reform a mask, but you're saying it's an empowering thing and it's an empowering tool. And yes, I feel that because like I don't wear makeup a lot. But when I do and I'm feeling myself and I'm like, damn, all right, yeah, like I feel more confident. On the other flip side, when we're talking about we need to start taking off these masks that we wear and start being more real, start being more authentic, which is why I started this podcast. Is like, I'm not going to fucking pretend anymore. I'm not going to try and like pussyfoot my way around saying stuff, right? I'm just going to say it as it is. And that's why I say in the intro bit, is like, if this triggers you, no one's asking you to be here. Like, stop listening if it triggers you. And if it is triggering you, that means there's something in you that needs to be healed, right? Same with me, like, stuff triggers me. And yes, I react to it, like, oh, fucking, she said this, and I'm feeling that. Doesn't she not know that it hurt me? And I let it out, I vent it. And then I always come back to, right, it's not that person, it's me. I'm the one who's triggered. So whether they said something to me that you're this and you're that, end of the day, I've allowed myself to feel the way I'm feeling. I have to take responsibility. They can come and slap me in the face, but I still have to deal with that pain and deal with why has it triggered me so much. I should be okay if somebody comes and slaps me in the face. Please don't come and slap me in the face. But it's going then back to stripping off those masks and having to, I don't think we'll ever be. I mean, I wish we would be in a world where we don't have to wear these masks. We strive for that place. But then it's also when you don't wear any makeup, right? You fully bare, you're fully vulnerable. That mask, essentially, the makeup mask is off. And it's like getting to sit with yourself and looking in that mirror and being okay with that. And I'll be honest, I'm still learning that because I go out without makeup sometimes. If I'm just going down to the shops, I don't really give a shit. But I want to get to that space where I feel so confident without my makeup, and I'm not right there. But I love the fact that we have the makeup, the intention behind it, isn't it?
And it's not just about hiding. Like for me, again, going back to the ancient techniques, ancient Egypt, for example, they'd use that as a tool to show their status and also the regality, the divinity. And even some of the tools in ancient India, it's not necessarily conventional makeup, for example, like we touched on sindoor and tilak and like kajal. Yeah, kajal is eyeliner basically, but it wasn't just worn because it made your eyes look pretty. That was just an addition to what the benefits were. And for me, I'm trying to tap back into that. I am wearing more eyeliner now, and I'm like, I can feel the difference in my energy, not just because of the aesthetic, but because of the meaning behind it. It is protecting me, and me knowing that in my head is giving me that energy and that empowerment to feel that. Also, it can be a shield, it can be an armor, as long as we're in control of it, as long as you're still able to love yourself without it. And I think what you said is so important. We have to be able to look at our raw selves, which is a process. Like, nobody's perfect. I'm on that journey myself. I'm very much on a whole journey of understanding who I am, and it's a process. What I've learned recently is you've got to do it and you're learning as you do it. Like you can't just be ready and then yeah, because I was very much that person who was like, yeah, when I've done X, Y, and Z, then I'll do this, then I'll apply. Like I would never have applied for this show in the former years because I was not ready. When I applied for the show, I was not for me now, even watching it back, I was like, oh, you could have done this, you could have done that. That's just my self-critique and my perfectionism coming through, which is a toxic trait. And I'm recognizing that because growing up, my perfectionism was always something that I wore as a badge of honor. Like, I'm a perfectionist. Now I've realized there's no such thing. Like, you have to really sit with that and understand it. Going from being very in control of how I put myself into the world and the perception that I put out, managing my own social media and making sure that anything that was put out was carefully curated and at a 90-degree angle with perfect lighting, to then going on television and being filmed at all hours. And it put me in that vulnerable state, and we had to wear no makeup on the first day, so we had to go into that challenge with no makeup on. And I was like, great, like television, super HD, they're going to film me with no makeup. And I was like, but that's okay, because you're going to then use it and show what you can become with it. And it's not a mask, it's again an energy enhancement. So, yeah.
Enhancement, I love it. And as you were saying about the sindoor and stuff and the other ancient Egypt makeup and stuff, but also like war paint. It's almost like a protective layer, like you're putting on your armor, your energetic shield. And it's just like a visual representation of that. And sometimes makeup could be that. It's like your shield, your energy protection. I love it.
Yeah, like makeup can be seen as quite effeminate. I think it's traditionally, I wouldn't want to say traditionally either. I think it's quite a new construct. Like it's got a feminine association. It's very much things that women do traditionally. I mean, it is changing now slowly. But if we look back, why is it changing from something that it already was? I do refer back to ancient India a lot because it's where I come from and it's where I can actually dig deep. But even where you came from, you would wear your tilak in a certain way. You would have different powders, different forms, different ways of drawing it on your forehead. And I'm still learning about all of this stuff, but it's so magical. Mendi, it wasn't just pretty designs on your hand. Every little motif and flower and design meant something. We still write our spouses' names in Mendi for weddings. The feeling, I used to love getting my Mendi done when I was a kid. In India, I would go back to my family home. I'd get Mendi done. My nails would get painted. I'd be able to be flamboyant AF in India, and I'd come back to England and it was so sad because that little boy would have to go back to school. I was like, oh, I've got nothing on my nails anymore, and it would just be a magical vanish because my family also wanted to protect me in the society that was Britain. And I shout this out from the rooftops now that it wasn't actually my Indian heritage that made me feel uncomfortable about being in touch with that feminine energy. It was British culture and British Asian culture and the Indian community in Britain.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel that that is definitely the next topic we're going to talk about. But we're going to wrap this up again and end on a 1 minute meditation. But we are doing this as a mini series now. The spiritual baddies are here to stay because we've got so much stuff that we can cover and go deep in. And I'm just learning so much about you. You're like my Guruji now. Thank you very much. No, you are.
Please, I know that I'm conscious that I knew this would happen. I could talk for England and India, but I just want to, before we move on to the meditation, I just want to express my gratitude to you and the fact that you've created this space for me and the fact that it's you that's doing that. Like, I have done a few interviews since the show, but nothing has allowed me to be so raw and unfiltered and authentic as I have been on this podcast. And I just want to say thank you to you, not only as my big sister, but also as somebody that I aspire to. And I just want to let you know that we've got a whole road ahead of us yet.
Yeah, baby, we're here. Oh, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. And that's what I was trying to create, like just a safe space for anyone. So if you're listening to this and you want to come on and get something off your chest or just express yourself in a raw, authentic, unfiltered way without that pressure of, oh my God, I can't say that. Fuck it, say it. I ain't gonna judge you. No, like, I don't know how many people listen to this, but no one's gonna cancel us. I'm not that big yet. Okay, maybe you, yeah, but like, it's all good. We're all protected. It's fine. I jest and I joke, but honestly, like, I just want to create a space where we can all come together, talk about things. And yes, we might not agree on everything, but this is what the beauty of life is, and this is the beauty about learning and understanding and having a level of acceptance, even though you might not agree with some of the stuff that we say or somebody says or somebody does, we can still all learn to appreciate that we all have different views and opinions and no one fucking knows the truth anyway. And on that note, let's do a 1 minute meditation on I feel like just taking the mask off, right? So if it is safe to do so, I want you to close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth. And I want you to ask yourself, what mask am I wearing today? Who am I trying to be? And who am I trying to be, this personality or this person or just type or character? Who am I trying to be that for? Am I being this for myself? Is this truly who I am? Or am I playing the role of a character for somebody else? And sometimes that's okay because we have the roles to play in our life. We have the roles of the brother, the sister, the mother, the father, the sibling, the offspring, the co-worker, the business owner. But when we strip away all those labels, who are we really? So I invite you today to just dig a little deeper, strip off that mask, strip the other mask off, and just sit with yourself and use this time to start thinking about which mask do you actually want to put on? Because you have that choice every single day. And try a day where you can actually take the mask off completely. And even just for 1 minute a day, sit with that version of yourself, that true, unmasked, raw person. Tell them that you love them because there's no one else like you on this planet. And that in itself is a miracle. With that, taking a nice deep breath in, hold, and breathe out. And I feel like we should end with that. You know, that song Mask Off by Future, which is like Mask Off. We're not going to sing it. It's not very good. I will leave the link in the show notes below so you can go and listen to that as well. Probably not the same vibe as that nice meditation, and it'll probably like put you into another state. But anyway, thank you so much, Rahul. I'm so proud of you, man. Like, as in, you have just evolved into this beautiful being. You were beautiful from day one, but to see your journey and to see what you're doing, I told you you're going to be smashing down barriers left, right, and centre. And I know we're here for a higher purpose, and we've discussed this. And the spiritual baddies are going to come at you, and we're bringing all the shit in the best way. Sending you love, light, and blessings, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode.